Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt that something was wrong, even when nobody said a word? Or maybe someone called you too emotional, too sensitive, or told you to stop overthinking. But what if your sensitivity is not weakness? What if your brain is simply detecting things other people are blind to? Because psychology says some people don't experience life normally. They experience it in high definition, and while the world sees them as too much, science may actually describe them as deeply aware. The hidden cost of feeling everything. There are people who don't just hear words, they hear hesitation, they notice the pause before a reply, the fake smile, the shift in someone's tone, the tension hidden behind silence. Most people move through life filtering information automatically, but highly sensitive minds absorb more than average, not because they choose to, because their nervous system is built that way. Psychologists often connect this to something called sensory processing sensitivity, a trait where the brain processes emotional and sensory information more deeply. Which means, while others see the surface, you notice the layers underneath it. And honestly, that can become exhausting, because your brain rarely stops scanning, even during rest. Why sensitive people overthink so much? For many sensitive people, the mind works like a detective that never clocks out. A simple message saying, "Can we talk later?" can turn into an entire psychological investigation. Did I do something wrong? Why did they phrase it like that? Why did they sound colder than usual? This happens because the brain is constantly trying to predict emotional outcomes before they happen. Psychology calls part of this predictive processing. Your brain wants certainty. It wants safety, so it analyzes everything. But over time, awareness slowly turns into overthinking. And eventually, you stop experiencing moments naturally. You start monitoring them instead. The strange relationship between sensitivity and emotions. Sensitive people don't just feel emotions. They absorb them. Someone else's stress can become their stress. Someone else's sadness can stay in their chest for hours, sometimes even days. This is connected to emotional empathy and mirror neuron activity inside the brain, meaning your nervous system partially mirrors what another person feels. That's why crowded places feel draining. That's why emotionally heavy conversations stay with you long after they end. And that's why sensitive people often become emotional caretakers without realizing it. They calm everyone else, while silently exhausting themselves. Why sensitive people cry easily? A lot of emotionally aware people feel embarrassed about crying. But crying is not always emotional weakness. Sometimes it's emotional overflow. Your brain has been carrying too much stimulation, tension, emotion, pressure, and tears become the nervous system's release valve. Research even suggests emotional tears help regulate stress, which means crying is not your system failing, it's your system trying to recover. The problem is, society often rewards emotional numbness. People praise the person who never reacts, the person who keeps everything inside. But being disconnected from emotions is not always strength. Sometimes it's avoidance. Sensitive people may cry more, but they also tend to feel life more deeply. Music affects them deeply. Kindness affects them deeply. Words affect them deeply, because they are emotionally open to experience. Where this awareness usually comes from. For some people, sensitivity is natural, but for others, it was learned through survival, especially during childhood. If someone grew up in an emotionally unpredictable environment, their brain may have learned to constantly scan for danger. They became experts at reading moods, tone changes, facial expressions, energy shifts, not because they wanted to overthink, because paying attention once helped them feel safe, and years later, their nervous system still acts like it has to stay alert all the time. This is often connected to hypervigilance, a state where the brain struggles to fully relax. So if you've ever wondered, why can't my mind just switch off? There may be a deeper reason than you think. The biggest mistake. Sensitive people make the biggest mistake deeply aware people make. is trying to carry everything. Every emotion, every problem, every hidden meaning, every shift in energy. They believe if they analyze enough, they can prevent pain. But eventually, awareness without boundaries becomes suffering. Because not every silence is a secret message. Not every mood is your responsibility. And not every emotional signal requires your attention. Real healing starts when sensitive people learn this. You can notice something without absorbing it. You can care deeply without carrying the emotional weight of everyone around you. Sensitivity is not weakness. The truth is, the world needs sensitive people. It needs people who notice what others ignore, of people who still feel deeply in a world becoming emotionally numb. People who bring empathy into rooms filled with ego. Your sensitivity is not proof that you're broken. It's proof that your nervous system experiences life intensely. And yes, sometimes that intensity hurts. But it also allows you to experience beauty, love, connection, meaning, and human emotion in ways many people never fully will. So maybe the goal isn't to become colder. Maybe the goal is learning how to protect your sensitivity without losing it. If this video felt personal, if you saw yourself somewhere inside these words, leave a comment and tell me what affects you the most as a sensitive person. And if you enjoy deep psychology and human behavior content like this, subscribe to the channel, because here, we try to understand the mind instead of escaping it. See you in the next video. The fourth 3